Hi boys and girls, today we are going to be exploring ways that we can illustrate space. And I'm not talking about outer space like with astronauts and the sun and stars, but we're talking about the distance of things, how far or close things are away from us, where they are in relation to us on our side, behind us, in front of us. And there are 6 ways that we can show this in art. The first way is overlapping objects. Now, my paper is flat, but it's obvious that one of these spheres looks closer to us than the other. Can you guess which one looks the closest to you? If you thought C, you're correct. Because these spheres are overlapping each other, this A sphere looks the farthest away. The next one is size. This is probably the most common one that you know about to create the illusion of space. So A looks the furthest away, and of course D looks the closest because A is very small, which makes it look far away from us. So overlapping and size are great ways to create space. Another one is value. When something is 3D, it creates shadows and highlights. Value makes our sphere look round. We can do the same thing with all the other 3D shapes that we know of. Perspective is a very mathematical way to calculate how small something will get as it goes away into the distance. For perspective, we use lines to calculate how big or small our shapes will become as they go away from us. Focus. When we are looking at things that are very far away, they're not as crisp as they would be if they were here in the front. So A sphere looks very nice and crisp, but E is so far away that it is really blurry to our vision. Lastly, position. And this one's kind of a tricky one to understand and explain. But if you could guess A, B, C, or D, which sphere do you think looks the farthest away from us? If you guess D, you're correct, which making A the closest. Now, it's kind of tricky to figure why, but the higher the position of your object on the paper, the farther away that object is going to look. Likewise, the lower on your paper, the closer that object will look. Now today we are going to be exploring the tool of perspective to create the illusion of depth or space. I'm going to be giving you at your table a packet of worksheets that will take you through a tool that we use called one-point perspective. One-point perspective is a drawing method that shows how things appear to get smaller as they go farther away, with lines meeting at a single vanishing point on the horizon line. It's a way of drawing objects on a flat piece of paper so that they look 3D and realistic. Let's try drawing some different shapes in 3D using one-point perspective. So at your desk you'll have a pencil and you'll also have a ruler. Our ruler is going to help us to find the lines of our shapes going into the distance. So the first thing I'm going to do is line my ruler up with the dot or the vanishing point on my paper, and then take and match it up to a corner of my shape and then connect those 2 points. I'm going to continue doing this with all of the corners of my shape, making sure your ruler is here on this dot. But boys and girls, I'm going to stop here and not do this corner for the very reason that when I am drawing a shape, I never want to take my line through the inside of this shape. I want my shape to stay uninterrupted by those lines. So let's kind of look at that a little further, going at this star. For my star, this corner, I can, yes, draw this line. If I go to this corner though, all the way here at the far end of my star, I should not draw this line because when my line starts, it is going to start by going through the inside of my shape. Now, how about this corner though? This corner is a bit tricky because it starts first by going outside my star, but then we'll get to a place where it is about to go inside of my star here. So instead of continuing, I'm going to stop and just let that line be. I will not continue through my shape. So, boys and girls, let's take a look at another example of this technique of drawing our lines. On my word art here, I've got my vanishing point here in the center. I'm going to start with this corner here on the A. Should I draw this line? So yes, I am going to go ahead and draw the line from the corner of my A to my vanishing point. Also this corner, it's not going to go through my shape, so I'm going to draw that. But what about this corner down here? I match up my ruler to the dot, and I guess it's not going to go through my shape at first, but eventually it's going to get to a place where it will go through my A, so I'm going to stop. Also here at the corner of my R, I can draw a little bit, but then it must stop because it is going to go inside of my shape. But if I were to do this corner here, cannot, because it's going to start by going inside of my shape. Don't forget all these corners where you are going to be able to go a little bit, but then have to stop, okay? Now the last thing I'm going to talk about with this page, and the first page is I want you to also work on cutting your shape off. So what that means is if I go ahead and finish this square, I am going to see that my square appears as though it goes back into space and goes back and disappears all the way into this point. But what if I want my square to not do that? What if I want my square to only go this far back? What I need to do is cut off my shape. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to mirror or mimic, copy the same line of my shape onto the side of here. So if my line is vertical up and down, my cutoff line should be vertical as well. If the line of my shape is perfectly horizontal, the cutoff line should be perfectly horizontal as well. I know that may look a little funny, but you need to trust your lines to know the angle of your cutoff line. So here I've done my cutoff line for my star, but now I need to mirror the line and angle of my star here to cut that off right there. Once you have done your cutoff lines for your shape, I would like for you to add value as well to some of your shapes. So, for the places underneath, you may want them to be darker. For the places on top, you may want them to be lighter. Try your best to get all the different values correct on these shapes. Okay, boys and girls. At the end of class, I am going to explain the very last page. So don't move on to the last page until I have explained how to do that for you. For now, I would like for you to work on the first 3 pages. First page, second page, third page. Okay, boys and girls, let's head to our desk and you may get started.